Good morning, everyone. Whoa, that was loud. You guys did a great job of following directions today. Came right in, got our food, sat down, and hopefully most of you have been able to digest, and now you can just sit back and listen. So appreciate that. Thank you, Marlene and Les and any of them in here for the great meal. It was good. Any meal is always good when you don't have to prepare it, right? That's my go-to. So anyway, welcome. We have about 80 people here today, so we are very blessed to have that many in our attendance. We always know that this event is super well attended. We are always very interested to hear what our city and what our school district is doing and how our city and county officials are taking good care of us and keeping us safe as well. So one thing that we don't talk about often, however, is our chamber. And even though we host this event, we always like to just remind you of what your chamber does for you. And our mission statement here is the Buffalo Area Chamber of Commerce and Tourism Bureau serves our business members, promotes our local assets, and shapes the future of our community. So that is our mission statement in a nutshell, pretty much summarizes what we do. We are here to serve you. Today is an opportunity for that, offering up some networking and some connection building. We provide opportunities to learn and opportunities for you guys to support each other, right? We should all be doing business with other chamber members so that we can help support and sustain our businesses here in the community. We also promote you, and that can be through our website. You're on there, of course, through our social media channels, through our directory, our print directory and online, in our newsletter. And then we have the tourism arm that also promotes our community as a great place to visit and live and work. So we do a lot of that and wearing that hat. And then we help shape the community. And a little misnomer for Suzanne and I come across it every day. A lot of people think we are the city, but we are not. They are the city here at this big table. But we work really well with the city, and the city supports us really well. So just in recent times, it's been, sitting and helping them with the 2040 plan. We're doing a parking study as we speak, and then the Highway 25 construction project that's coming up here the next summer. So we work in tandem with the city. The city supports us in a lot of what we do, a lot of the behind the scenes things Suzanne and I can't do. We can't drop 50 parking barriers and whatnot across the city. We rely on that and our parks team to help us support in a lot of the events we run. So we work with the city, and we appreciate all you guys do for us. So we appreciate that. So that's just a little who we are, but we wouldn't be any of that if it weren't for you in this room, because you actually support us. So we wouldn't exist without your membership. We wouldn't exist without your sponsorship. We wouldn't exist without your volunteering for our events, that kind of thing. So it's a two-way street in our support, and we appreciate you greatly. All 330 plus of you, by the way. We're the biggest chamber count that we've been at since Suzanne and I have been there, so we're over 330. Yeah, you can clap for that. So yeah, that's an exciting number to hit. We appreciate that. I talked sponsorships. Let's make sure to recognize the sponsors of this event today. So there, who's on your table tents? We have Tina from Anchor Realty. Give a wave. Old National Bank, same table. Insurance Brokers of Minnesota, Mike Zumbush there in the back. Bank West. Who do I got from Bank West? Sean, you just came in, didn't you? And then Out to Work, Steve and Amanda right here. So thank you guys. That helps make this event possible. On your original roster, we kind of had what was our speaking order. We're going to change that up a little bit for you today, just so you know what to expect. We're going to actually have our Wright County Sheriff, Sean, speak first. And then we'll move into the mayor and the city staff. And then we'll have the Buffalo Police Department, and we will end with our school district. So just so you know, I'm not going to come up in between those and introduce those people. They will just do that and know to come on up. As far as questions, what do you guys feel? If you have a couple, we can field some questions, but you certainly can hang around afterwards, right, city staff? If you have more conversation you want to have, they will be around afterwards, and you can certainly ask directly. So, and I didn't recognize Sean. He's usually in his sheriff gear, and he walked in a suit and tie, so that baffled me. So come on up and welcome our county sheriff. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
going to take this one more time from you, though. Also, while we're up here, you see these purple flowers, because I'm going to forget to do this otherwise. Somebody in this room is celebrating 25 years of chamber membership with us, and we don't get to see her very often. So where did Ellie Ortman sit? Aha, these are for you when you leave. Thank you. Now you can have it. We'll get you later. We'll catch you later.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me to come up here first. I have another big meeting at 1 o'clock, so I always try to entertain when I'm up here, right? That's my number one goal, is I want to leave you with some useful information, but I also don't want you back there half falling asleep on me, because believe me, that's happened too. So I thought I was just going to come in here, hit on a couple of high points, and then I start talking to Michael back there, and he's asking me a couple of questions. I'm like, holy crap, I could talk all day, but I will really try to be brief. So first of all, this week, heavy hearts, right? Unbelievable. Every time we turn around, it seems like we're just getting kicked in the gut in this profession. One of the first things I wanted to talk to you today about is, and I know that several of you have probably heard me in other circles. I know I've talked to several public and community groups, and I always hit on our ability right now to recruit and retain, and that is the number one issue facing law enforcement. We always have the crime, grime, and slime, and we always try to keep the pieces together. But folks, if you wake up one morning and you don't have guardians protecting your communities, we are all screwed. And that's what's facing us right now, and it's a real threat. I'll give you an idea. So I've been using this statistic, literally, it hasn't changed for about the last 8 months, almost a year now. There remains 1,300 to 1,500 law enforcement jobs open across the entire state of Minnesota. I now have the statistics after doing a data request to the Minnesota Post Board. 540 people took and passed the post test last year. That's our licensing board. That's not sustainable. Para assumes, or they're predicting, that 1,400 to 1,500 cops will retire in the next 5 years. Our industry right now is not sustainable. To take it a step further, in February, we were at a job fair at Alexandria Technical College. That is the number one producer of cops in the entire state of Minnesota. They used to graduate 300. So we were up there in February. There were 77 law enforcement agencies looking to recruit at this career fair. Guess how many graduating kids there were? 66. Everybody's leaving here with a job today, folks. Everybody's got a job. 66. In fact, a third of those already had conditional job offers when they graduated. I just lost a recruit. I was pushing. We had a phenomenal applicant, and she is currently a CSO with the Golden Valley Police Department. And if you haven't heard, that agency is folding. I don't believe that there will be a Golden Valley Police Department in the next 6 months. They are now up to $52 an hour and still can't get applicants. All right, that's how competitive our market is becoming right now. But she decided to back out of our system, and because they offered her a job making over $40 an hour, and she doesn't even finish college till June. So she's got a part-time job paying her over $40 an hour, and she doesn't, and I'm guessing that there's some other benefits and stuff in there. So to say the least, folks, we are in a very competitive. In fact, my meeting at 1 o'clock with the county, I have had a series. This is the third meeting that I have had with members of the county board and the negotiating committee. The county just settled their contracts with all of our deputies. In fact, all of our unions throughout the county. We just settled them at the end of last year or the beginning of this year. I have already gone back to them now, and we have reopened the negotiating committee. So the contracts are already settled. So the deputies actually can't do this on their own. I am doing this on their behalf because I have to have the ability to be competitive in the marketplace. And so we have opened that back up. And so I really like where the conversations are going, but that's the next meeting I have at 1 o'clock. And so we're really pushing that hard. To give you an idea, our starting pay right now for the county's at $30.27 an hour for deputy. Sherburne County's at $38.96 and Carver County's at $40.43. I can compete with $2 or $3 an hour, folks, but I can't compete with 10 or 15. I just lost a deputy. I've lost about a dozen deputies in the last 6 months. It's all driven by pay because some folks, unfortunately, memories are short, right? They're willing to go back into Hennepin County even though they have a ridiculous half-wit for a county attorney's office, and you're controlled by some of those folks in there. This isn't political, it's just my observations. But anyway, they're willing to put themselves back into that arena. But I just lost a gentleman. He'd been with us for 5 years. He had been with the Olmsted County Sheriff's Office for 4 years before that. So I gave him 12% over our starting pay when he started here. After being here for 5 years, Plymouth PD just offered him $14 an hour more. And so you can put a lot of gas in your car for about $32,000 a year. So that's where we're at, folks. So any questions? I'll hang out for a couple of minutes, maybe by the back door. If you got any questions, feel free to hit me up. But a couple of other high points. Mike asked me about the raging topics right now. Certainly any opportunity I get to talk in front of people, I'm going to mention fentanyl. Folks, it's a real deal, right? We all have a knee surgery. We all have hip replacement or knee replacement surgery or back surgery, or our kids playing sports tear an ACL or an MCL and they have surgery and they're on painkillers for 3 weeks a month, and now all of a sudden the doctor says you shouldn't be in pain anymore. I got to take the pills away from you. But they know Johnny down the street selling pills. That is such an addictive property in those pills. And I'm going to tell you why. And if it's never been explained, it'll probably hit home. That pill in particular, with many of our illegal controlled substances in this country, affect the dopamine levels of your brain. You are artificially increasing dopamine levels in your brain. What is dopamine? It's the chemical in your brain that makes you happy. The sun is shining. I feel really good today. I get to go talk to the chamber today. This is exciting. I like this. I don't need to artificially raise my dopamine levels to do it, and I feel happy and joy. But you screw with your dopamine levels for too long, and all of a sudden now you don't get to, your body doesn't do it automatically. You need to do it artificially. And so that's why this chemical and that's why these drugs are so addictive. Why do we have, I am convinced today that we are struggling with the mental health challenges that we do because we have allowed and normalized drug abuse in our society. Kids don't give two craps anymore about going to a party and pulling out a bag full of pills or a bag full of weed and just using it in the open. In high school, those folks were in the closet. When I was in high school, those people were in the closet. I never saw it. So, but now it's just in the open. So we have normalized it to the point. And so why do we have people, so many people on, and not all the cases, right? There's some true problems that people face. But when we start talking about artificially raising dopamine levels, that's why we have the mental health problems and the depressive issues that we do have, because people have done that artificially for too long. And it's interesting, I was doing a presentation in my jail and Pastor Rich Sherber came out, the founder of Minnesota Adult and Teen Challenge. What a remarkable man. I love spending time with him. And he was sharing with the people that so oftentimes we have a 30-day treatment, spin dry, things like that. Teen Challenge is up to a year to 13, 14 months, and that's where they're seeing the benefit. But to completely, once you're off the controlled substance, whether it's an opioid controlled substance or otherwise, your dopamine levels do not return to normal production or outside of an artificial induction into it for 3 years. So I think that that's why we're facing so many problems in our society. So, folks, literally, it's like Russian roulette out there. Please, if you talk to youth, if you talk to kids, if you're struggling, get help, seek help. But if you get a pill outside of a pharmacy, you are literally playing Russian roulette. In the 4 years that we have been carrying Narcan, I know that we are up to over 200 saves. But we are seeing recently is we're hitting people 3, 4, or 5 times with Narcan to get enough of that in their system because this fentanyl is so strong and so powerful. And so obviously we've got many people that we have not been able to bring back. So I know, I seem doom and gloom, right? I'm sorry, but this is just the facts of what we're going through today, and this is what we're facing. I've got one more thing for you. This is the Chamber of Commerce businesses. So one of the trends that we're facing across the entire county, in fact, we've got a multi-agency investigation going on with our nighttime burglars. So bars, pull tab booths, that's the target lately. They're breaking in 2 to 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. They're stealing safes, they're stealing cash, whatever really they can get their hands on. We are narrowing down on a couple of suspects. Thought we had them 2 weeks ago in Sherburne County, but then we got hit again. And so I think that it's a bigger group, but the investigation continues. But they went outside of bars this last weekend for a particular business in Wright County. I just want to leave you with this. If you have a business and you might have a safe, these people don't care that that's your life savings in there. They don't care that it's your 17 gold bars that you've amassed over the last 25 years and that's your retirement fund, or you think that it's safe. Walk through your business, walk through your office, and if it's unsecured, just know that tomorrow morning when you come back, are you okay with that not being there? And if you're not okay with it not being there, then do something to prevent it. Theft, unfortunately, is a crime of opportunity. The harder you make it for somebody, the least likely you are to be a victim of it. So take care of yourselves, take care of your businesses, take care of your life savings, because these people could care less that you wanted to use that money or cash to take your family on a vacation. They don't care. There's a very special place in hell for some people, but they continue to really create victims. But unfortunately, or fortunately, we can oftentimes do something to prevent it on our side. It might cost you a little bit of money, but look around your businesses, look around your homes. If you're okay with missing it the next day when you arrive, don't do anything about it. Anybody can have my clothes, right? But there's certain things in my home that I don't want them to walk out. Do what you can to protect it. Guessing that Russ over here will help everybody out. So, you guys, I know I always get long-winded, but that's kind of the high points. I'll hang out over here if you have any questions. I am honored that the City of Buffalo continues to include me in these conversations and invites me every year. I'm honored. I love this group. It's one of the funnest things that I get to do is get out and talk to people and answer questions. So, Mike, thanks for the conversation. I always appreciate it, but I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Mayor.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, I'm going to stand behind this podium because my legs will blind you today. I am white as the driven snow that we hope goes away. How's everybody's dopamine? Good, good. Hey, this is, again, I say this to third graders, this is my favorite thing to do. No, it really is. Because you guys make Buffalo what it is, and that Chamber of Commerce representation over there, they're amazing. And the partnership that we have together is perfect. We so appreciate what you do for our city. You guys have no idea what you give, and I know we receive, and I know sometimes you don't feel the love, but today's the day. I hope you get to hear about some things you wanted to hear about, and one of them is potholes. Anybody? No, I'm kidding. It's just part of our plan. Last night we're at our meeting and we brought up chickens. Anybody interested? Yeah. A lot of people in the room talking about chickens, so that's a discussion that's happening. But again, this group that you're going to hear from today, they're phenomenal. They do great work, and a lot of them were here last year, but a lot of new blood within our city. I'm gonna have coffee with Lorene Bodine at 2:00 today. I took the whole day off so I could get to see her. I'll get to go in and say we had a room full of business people that love our city. Can I say that out loud? Thank you so much. Well, hey, this is not my words, but this is our vision, our mission, a community where excellence and opportunity come together, and that's you guys. We all come together. We come together with the chamber, we come with businesses, we come together with our staff, and we come together with our residents. Our vision, Buffalo strives to provide superior service and a safe environment to live, work, and play, same as you guys. The city and its stakeholders will meet the changing needs of the community through innovation and collaboration. And again, that's all of us. We all do this together. Now, our 3 big points. The 2040 comprehensive plan near completion. 2 years? Would you say, David? Right around 2 years it's taken? And that's everyone together in a room. I mean, talking about business stakeholders, we're talking about residents, we're talking about city staff. And people say, well, were you there? No, because it's not about me or my plan. It's about your plan and the residents' plan and staff. Our Buffalo Fiber build out. Anybody got Buffalo Fiber? I know we do because when you walked in, of course, Jason, he's like, they're a customer. They're a customer. So thank you, Jason. And then pavement management and our facility study. And again, pavement management, you guys are going to hear some numbers today. They're going to be they were over my head when we started hearing about. Justin shared with us kind of how far behind we are in our pavement management. It's something we strive and we know is important. What do people see when they're paying taxes? Their roads, right? Crucial. But I will tell you, we're not the only ones who are having the issues. If you guys drive on any Minnesota road, you're seeing it. We do have conditions that really make you have to pay attention and really make it one of your priorities. So that is something we're going to make sure we talk about. I'm going to hand it over to our administrator, Taylor Gronow. He does a phenomenal job. And if you ever need anything from the city, talk to him first. He'll direct your path to the next person. Make sure if you need something from us, my phone number is in the local paper, Facebook, pretty much anywhere. And I do get phone calls, by the way, about pretty much anything. Pickleball. Who plays pickleball? A lot of people, because they call me and they message me. So hopefully we got a lot of pickleball coming up. So I thank you very much for coming. I thank you for representing our city. I thank you for your services because you guys make us who we are. Thank you so much. Taylor, come on up.
Well, thanks, Mayor, and thank you, everyone, for the opportunity to be here. This is my second year with the City of Buffalo. I think I've had the opportunity to meet a number of you in my first year here. I initially started out as the Assistant City Administrator, had the opportunity to work under Lorene Bodine for a year. She was great to work with. We have a phenomenal crew here that's representing city staff as well as the City of Buffalo. The 2023 Buffalo City Council, pictured left to right, Nick O'Rourke, Steve Downer. We do have a student liaison, Matthew Scherber, Mayor Terry Lockermeyer, Brad Dahl. He is the newest member of the City Council member. He was elected this last election cycle, and then Jamison Wakefield, who was reelected this last election cycle. We have a large crew, and I'm going to ask them to stand up as I call their names so you're able to see their face. Parks and Recreation Director Lee Ryan. Fire Chief John Harnoy was not able to make it today, but he was planning on it. Finance Director Kelly Horn. Human Resources Manager Carmen Merrill. You'll hear from him later, but Police Captain Andrew Johnson. City Clerk Susan Johnson. Utilities and IT Director Jason Moosberger. Community Planning and Economic Development Director Dave Kelly. And then City Engineer Justin Canas. So we have a very large team that makes this city work and makes this city go, and we need to recognize them as we go forward here. So I'm going to hit on a few topics, and then I'm going to turn it over to our Utilities and IT Director to talk about what's going on in those fields. As the Mayor mentioned, pavement management is one of the top priorities for the City of Buffalo and the City of Buffalo City Council. We updated the plan late last year. You can see in the graphic here that was provided by Bolton and Mink kind of an overview of the status of our pavement. They reviewed the pavement conditions citywide. Just as a quick note, green means great, red means bad. So as you see that, this will form the basis of our maintenance plan going forward. It recommended a 10-year maintenance plan, and it's not cheap. Its estimated annual cost is near $3 million. To put perspective to that, the City of Buffalo is currently budgeting $500,000 each year for pavement maintenance. So this is it's going to be a hurdle that the City Council is focused on overcoming. We're going to have to look at ways to fully fund our pavement management plan, and I list a few of them there. Municipal state aid, which we receive from the state government. We're looking at franchise fees. Some cities use that to fund their pavement management plans. Special assessments, the city has not done those in the past. Many cities do. The City Council will be looking into a special assessment policy for street reconstruction projects, and then through our annual levy, which is how we fund our pavement management plan currently. We have been working on a city facility study. I think I touched base on this last year when I was here. We have many facilities in the city that are older or no longer meet needs. We're wrapping up that facility study. BKV Group has worked with our facility studies task force. If you've had the opportunity to attend City Council meetings recently, a draft report of that was presented to the City Council, and we are planning a final report in May. So that will be something that will be good. We'll recommend some phased-in approaches to addressing some of our facility needs here in the city of Buffalo. A big project. I'm sure we talked about it last year. It's been on the docket many years prior. But we have the State Highway 25 reconstruction project. It's a joint city and MnDOT project. We have created a project website. That link that is provided up there will take you directly there. It'll provide updates, graphics, anything you need or would want to know on the Highway 25 project. One thing I want to mention is last year when we were here, we talked about some direct appropriation requests up at the federal level that we had put in. Congressman Tom Emmer and Senator Amy Klobuchar carried those for us, and we were awarded nearly $5.8 million to cover the local share for our Highway 25 project. So I know a number of you touched base with them, or touch base with their offices to promote that project, as well as another project that we received funding for. So I want to thank you for that. Our current timeline is, and I'll note it's subject to change. It's a little bit becoming a little more up in the air as the day goes on. We're still awaiting final design approval from MnDOT, but we've done some tree removal and some project prep. We plan to receive bids in May of 2023 with phase construction and detour beginning in late June, early July of 23. We would only have that detour go for 1 year. We realize that we don't want that to go any longer than it needs to, and we do some project wrap up in the spring and summer of 2024. If we do not receive bids that we like, it is possible this project would be delayed until 2024. So just keep an eye out. We'll do our best to publicize that if that is the case. One of our biggest responsibilities as a city is to run and operate our elections. Our city clerk, Susan Johnson, is the primary contact there. She helps find and recruit over 50 election judges, and some of you may be in this room that help with our elections. We have over 10,500 registered voters, 3 different precincts. Our 24 election dates, we're preparing for that. March 5th is the presidential primary. August 13th is a state primary, and November 5th is the general election. So that's all coming right around the corner, and we're making preparations for that. You may have heard that we are looking into the construction of a splash pad at West Pulaski Park. This has really started with a grassroots campaign of local residents and individuals that were looking to do some fundraising in honor of their son. We also have applied for a DNR outdoor recreation grant, which I don't believe we've heard on yet. No. And we're targeting a opening date of late 2024. Again, that's going to depend, the scope and timing of that will depend on the fundraising success. If any of you are interested in helping, I know some of you have helped with that fundraising effort, please contact the city of Buffalo. Lee Ryan will be able to direct you to the group that's doing that fundraising. And then my last part, a fun event that we have coming. I think this is actually the second year that we're doing this. No, this will be the first year that we're doing this in the city of Buffalo. There'll be the Tree Climbing Championship and Festival of Trees at Sturgis Park. There's a QR code there for you to scan if you're interested in attending. It'll be May 19th to the 21st, again, up here at Sturgis Park. So it's an exciting event that we're really glad to be hosting here at the city of Buffalo. So at this point, I thank you for the opportunity. I'm going to turn it over to Utilities and IT Director Jason Moosberger. Thanks.
Thank you, Taylor. Appreciate everyone seeing everyone again. It's always great to see the chamber. Buffalo Fiber's been participating in the chamber events. It's great to get to meet all our local business owners. So, Buffalo Municipal Utilities is a city-owned and operated utility. We offer electric, water reclamation, also known as sewer, and fiber internet. It takes about 30 staff members we have 30 full-time staff members that fill those utility divisions. We also bring on some seasonal and part-time hires in the summer to help out optimizing summer construction. One of the bigger projects we have upcoming is advanced metering infrastructure, also known as AMI. This is going to be an excellent benefit for not only the utility but the community as well. Some operational benefits We won't have to have on-site meter reading anymore. So that data will come in directly to our utility billing, and which leads into the financial benefits. We'll be reducing equipment, maintenance costs. We'll be able to enable faster restoration of the electric distribution system. I know our finance director, Kelly Horn, is excited as well to incorporate this into the utility billing department. Customer benefits, we're going to be able to communicate more through understanding of how the billing, or be able to read those bills. Utility bills are never fun to read. Probably never fun to pay for either, to be honest, but it's going to improve that accuracy, that flexibility of billing, and if there's leak detection, when we get to the water meters, we'll be able to immediately detect a leak within your home, and no longer it will be 30 days out. Going back to the electric meters, we'll be able to see exactly what the scope of the outage is, and get the power, get the lights back on sooner. Security benefits, everything is circled around cybersecurity. We're in the evaluation process of the AMI project, so we are going to ensure that the meters that we put in to the outside or the inside of your buildings will be safe and secure. We won't be losing data, or everything will be encrypted. So those are things that staff, it's a big team too. Like I mentioned, Kelly Horm's part of the team. Derek Eichenberg, our technical services director, is leading the project. So it'll be good to keep that moving forward. Buffalo Fiber is our newest utility. We've been working on Buffalo Fiber for quite some time. I know the commercial side has been hard at it for about 15 years. The last 3 years, there's been a push for residential fiber. But this is exciting because this is a community-owned ISP. Fiber itself is the superior product. There's cable internet, there's 5G internet, but fiber is an infrastructure that can go into the ground and it can last for 75 plus years. It's going to be scalable to all your business needs. So as your business grows, the service can grow. Maybe you start out at 100 megs, 100 meg service, but you can go to a gig service immediately. And in 2 to 3 years, we'll be offering 10 gig services. So we're pretty excited about bringing Buffalo Fiber. Keep viewing the city council meetings. I think in the next couple council meetings, we're going to have some exciting news about an expansive build out with our commercial and residential fiber. We're going to offer local customer service. All our technicians live in the community, so we'll be able to respond. A lot of times we can respond within 30 minutes. If there's ever a need, we're going to hopefully promote competition within Buffalo too, with the cable and the 5G wireless systems. Offer a smart city innovation, and that covers the wheels. So, Buffalo Municipal Utility electric goals. Our electric department is kind of the bread and butter. It's very important for us to have an electric utility, your utility. We're looking at innovative efforts here as well. One big focus is reliable power. So we'll be adding a second substation. This year we'll be focused on the design and land procurement of that substation. Interconnect process is taking a while, so we're probably 2 years out before we could interconnect. But hopefully we'll get the ball rolling on the design this year. We continue to try to take the overhead lines and put them underground. This protects them from weather and damage. So anytime we can get that primary wire under the ground, it increases the reliability of the distribution system. That reliable focus is exactly what the electric department does. We have some of the best journeymen that I've ever worked with to be able to do that underground construction. It's quite a laborious process. We're also looking to kind of rebrand. We've been an operational heavy utility department in all our utilities, so we're looking to add value-added services. Internally, we promoted our water superintendent, Kara Hesse, to our customer service director. So she'll be performing energy audits, working with third-party consultants. So if you have any business needs where you need an energy audit, we're promoting those this year. Also providing community education on our clean energy programs and conservation improvement programs. We have a lot of SIP rebates, so if you're looking to remodel, change from old halogen lighting to LED lighting, the city does provide rebates for those efforts. So connect with me or go to our website, but we'd be happy to help you out with any of your energy needs. I'd like to introduce Dave Kelly, the longest title in the city.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a long one. So I guess just echoing what Taylor and Jason had said, I really do appreciate the opportunity to present in front of you. I think I've presented a number of times to some of you, so some of this may be, you may have heard my voice a lot, but try to keep it short. I am a talker by nature, but with that, so starting right off with some residential highlights. So this is a slide I present every year just to give a lay of the land of where we are. We have a number of residential developments that are currently under construction. Misty Meadows 3rd, Whispering Winds. Those are GBH is Greenbrier Hills, which is heavily in the northeast corner of the city, and then Arbor Meadows, which is a new one. Generally, all the developments that we're seeing under construction on the northeast side, which along Dake Avenue, probably not too much of a surprise to many of you, but we do have a number of developments that are proposed that are not in the northeast corner of the city. The biggest one would be Settlers Brook. So this is on the intersection of Settlers Parkway and Creekside Manor. Well, Creekside Drive right across the street. Creekside Manor is across the street from that. So in the next couple of years, there'll be a lot of development happening right when you take a left onto Settlers Parkway, which is exciting. Both are single-family home projects. Well, the Creekside Manor is a 40-unit one, but then there's a Buffalo Point, which is right along the lake. You probably have seen signs for it as you're driving on Lake Boulevard. Both of the Buffalo Point and Settlers Brook are looking to go for final plat in the next couple of months here, which essentially means that the development's really happening and getting into that final stage. Creekside Manor, as I alluded to a little bit earlier, right across the street from Settlers Brook, and that will be a 40-unit, all of 100% affordable senior living apartment complex. And then 3rd Avenue Apartments, which is right behind where the old Brothers Cafe was on 3rd Avenue. And what you see on the bottom there was just a proposed rendering, and then the top right is the preliminary plat that went before the Planning Commission. Some other development residential highlights. A lot of this is just permit data, but gives an idea of kind of what we're seeing here at the city. So in 2022, we had 37 new single-family permits versus 81 in 2021. And then the total valuation was $12.06 million, which just kind of shows the investment that's being made into the city. Permit numbers are down, not too surprising, I think, to probably a lot of you, but we did have 878 total building permits in 2022 versus 1,477 in the previous year. So unsurprisingly, with some of the concerns about inflation and rising rates, there's a bit of a pause we're experiencing. But there is still development happening. We've had 186 building permits in 2023 thus far. So there's investment being made, new homes being built, but it is certainly a slower pace than what we've seen the last couple of years. Generally speaking, some planning projects, it was alluded to earlier by the mayor, the 2040 comprehensive plan. It will be called the Buffalo Community Plan, just with the idea that it would really be for the community. As the mayor had alluded to, that's still, it's been a little bit of a longer process, but a process that I'm happy to wait on, frankly, because there's a lot in there. We're expecting that to be, I believe by May or June, I think is when we'll have it go before council for final adoption, but I certainly suggest reading it when it's made available. There's a lot of different, it runs the gambit of potential projects and city goals and things we're striving to do here at the city. It's also my project, so I gotta, do that. Citizen Serve, this is an online permitting software. This has been in the works for a couple of years now too, but the idea behind this is it puts our permitting process entirely online, which before it was just paper, which is obviously pretty tedious and takes up a lot of staff time. But the really exciting part about this for residents and contractors is they can see the status of where their permit is as a given time. So that's exciting, and we're excited to have that from the staff side. With that, we've done a lot of analysis on existing permitting just to see, we haven't really looked at this a lot in the past couple of years, what are other cities doing. We've explored fences, and we're trying to explore whether we require fence permits anymore. So there's a lot of that continuous improvement practices we're kind of just following. Jason alluded to this a little bit, water conservation and sustainability. That's very big, broad areas, but trying to find projects that fit into what we're trying to do there, which is always exciting. Code enforcement, it's a long-term project we're always working on, but we always want to add it as it's something we strive to work on. Updates to the city website, that's something that we also always work on, especially from the planning and economic development side. There's a lot of business resources we want to get out there because we get calls from businesses that are asking, what resources do we have at the city? So we're trying to keep that updated with both city, state, and federal programs. And then lastly, affordable housing opportunities. That's a very broad category, but it's something that we're very mindful of, that affordable housing is a constant project and obstacle that we're trying to overcome. Economic development side, number of projects here too. It's fun wearing two different hats a lot because I jump into both. But a number of big projects we're working on currently. The Buffalo Montrose Hanover School District has invited a lot of members of the public, members of businesses in the public, and then the city staff to be a part of a workforce development task force to get a lot of the workforce that's coming out of the high school in the district to the jobs that need them in the city. So we really appreciate the Buffalo High School for doing that in the school district, for pushing that forward. The Old Wright County Government Center redevelopment, I'll have a little more about that at the end of this presentation, but that is a big project that obviously will have longstanding implications for the downtown. The feasibility and demand for a new industrial park, that's been something that we've had on our mind for a number of years, as our current industrial park's getting pretty occupied at this point. I think there's only one parcel left. So that's something we're always continuously exploring and seeing what the demand for that would be, and then how do we structure it so we can make best use of grants and all that good stuff. And then lastly, Taylor had alluded to it earlier with the 25 reconstruction project itself. But with that, staff and the HRA had examined how do we ensure that this project does not adversely impact downtown businesses. Obviously, there's a lot with that, but we are, when the project happens, we'll be rolling out a micro loan program that makes loans available to downtown businesses to cover 50% of their rent and utility bills through the project. And then a bigger one, which is a Buy Buffalo local spending campaign, and that's for the downtown, but it really goes to the public. The idea being that we want to incentivize residents to shop local, shop downtown, and support the businesses that we know and love. So continuing on that, some other projects we're working on, a downtown parking and mobility study, just examining what the downtown parking situation is right now, where we're to be in the future after the reconstruction project, and a lot with that. Mobility too, the idea being how do we incentivize residents to make best use of the parking that's there while also making it enjoyable to walk. Obviously you don't want to have someone have to park far away if they can't get to the business they're looking to go to. So with that too a little bit, there's the HPAB, is the Heritage Preservation Advisory Board. This is a new city board that was created in the last year. And one of their big projects to start off is to focus on the naming of the downtown parking lots. We have a number of them, but they don't really have formal names. Obviously the Farmers Market lot is the easiest one. And that is the name they'll probably use. But that's something we also want to look at, and that advisory board is exploring the names of historical figures in the city that they could also use to name that. And then add a little bit of unique Buffalo flair to downtown parking. Public restrooms, that's a long-term project we've been working on, and we're very mindful of that. And there's a couple of projects we have that we hope to meet that need, but it's something we're always mindful of. Vitality in the downtown, this is kind of a bigger nomer, but the idea with this is how do you make the downtown experience pleasant? What do you add? Do you add more benches here? Do you add more plants here? How do you make it a really welcoming and exciting place to want to shop and spend your day downtown? And then the future of the Buffalo Cinema Building, I'll have more on that at the end of this presentation as well. And then lastly, I've had this slide on last year as well, but just some grant programs we have currently through the city. The Small Cities Development Program, which is through DEED, provides funding for residential homeowners in target areas. And then the city had contributed $9,000 from that. The rest of it came through DEED. And then $30,000 for commercial properties in the downtown area as well. And then we also have the Buffalo HRA had created a downtown facade improvement program and then a commercial repair program to help businesses in the downtown. Essentially, if there's a cost that they have to incur, how do you make it easy for them to make that repair and then also stay in business in the long term? So a lot of different programs we have there. So some frequently asked questions. There's 3 of them here. These are the big ones we go with. But what's happening with the Downtown Government Center site now that it's vacant? What's happening at the Buffalo Cinema? And then what is happening with the Lake Pulaski pumps? Next slide. So there's kind of long 3 answers to that. So as mentioned, and this is something I think we've spoken about at council meetings before, so apologies if you've heard this before, but the Wright County Board established an EDA and task force to consider the redevelopment of the 5-acre downtown property over the next few years. It has 2 council members, Taylor and myself, 3 county commissioners, and then the Wright County assistant city administrator, and then their project manager. So collaboration between both the city and the county. In the meantime, however, the EDA has put the building up for sale as is until Wednesday, May 31st, to solicit any interest in the short term. That's a long-term project we're working on, and obviously we want to make, because we don't own the building, we recognize that the tools we have is the planning and zoning. So how do we utilize that to make a highest and best use for the property? And that's something we've been mindful of for a number of years, and we're trying to move forward with that. So for the Buffalo Cinema, so the city has contracted with an architectural firm, BKV, to complete a facility assessment, structural review, concept design, and preliminary cost estimate for the Buffalo Cinema building's redevelopment as a community arts and enrichment center. So the name I put there, it's kind of what we're using for now, but obviously that could certainly change. The idea behind having a name here is there's a known push by residents to have a community center that mimics a lot of different things you could find in different cities. This obviously wouldn't do that. The building itself can do a lot, we expect, but can't do all of it. So that being said, we're looking into the building to see its condition, if we can move forward with it, what would be the cost to redevelop the building for the purposes that we want to see there. And from this study, the City Council will use the results to determine whether to proceed with the purchase of the building, so that we are a more informed buyer as we get there. And then lastly, the Pulaski pump situation, and I can certainly confer to Taylor if there's any specific questions with this, but as you all know, there's been zebra mussels were found in Lake Pulaski, and with that, the pump that goes between both, there's some restrictions that the DNR placed on the transfer of the water between both. And with that, we have partnered with the Lake Pulaski Improvement District and the city and the county to install a zebra mussel filtration system so pumping can resume. And then costs range from 1.2 to 2.4 million. And then we did request state funding for this, and we expect this to be completed late summer or early fall. And with that, we would recommend you contact the mayor and council members via our new website, participate in public meetings, council advisory board, special projects. That's where a lot of the magic happens. And then obviously reach out to us if you need anything. With that, I think we're available for questions.
We'll stick around.
We'll stick around for questions afterwards. So thank you all. Okay. It's a hot mic.
I was hoping. Thank you. Thank you. I became a cop because I don't like math and I don't like public speaking. So I'm going to stand up here and throw some numbers at you. So we're currently fully staffed. So we're not dealing with a lot of the same issues other agencies are right now. We're authorized for 19, and actually that is, we have someone that's in the process. So hopefully May, he'll be starting. So we're fully staffed, even though, you know, we're just as vulnerable as everyone else. We have great city admin, council, mayor, business owners, citizens to thank for all of that. It's a great community. Our cops love working here, and nobody wants to leave as far as I know. So we're very fortunate and blessed for that. We've got between 21 and 2022, we've had about a 10% increase in calls. So our cops are staying busy out there. In fact, just to kind of piggyback on the sheriff, this morning we had an arrest with someone that had some Percocets and fentanyl pills on them. And then as we were getting our lunch, our officers responded to a separate call of an overdose. So a very real thing out there that we deal with way too often. Something that I just wanted to mention, we ended up getting new AEDs last year, the automated external defibrillators. We've always carried them, but there was a Helmsy grant through the University of Minnesota Medical School. So they provided each of our patrol units with new AEDs last year. It cost nothing for the city. All our old units were donated to our utility campus, so linemen and anyone else in utilities can hopefully not use them, but have them. During that grant period of 8 years, we have them forever, but during 8 years, we get free pads and free maintenance, which pads is kind of a big deal. You know, we use them, and pads are on back order. You can't get them. So we get moved to the front of the line because we're part of the grant program, so we always have pads. We never have to worry about not having pads. And they're great. They connect by Wi-Fi, so we get updates. We get like a case report after it's analyzed, kind of give feedback to the officers. And you can see, you know, how long you've not been doing compressions. So we can get better at that. In fact, we had a save right before Christmas last year. Elderly guy went down on his driveway shoveling. Officers got there, hooked him up to the AED, did CPR, and they actually had a spontaneous heart rate, and he was breathing on his own before a line ambulance even got on scene. So they're pretty cool. Pretty excited about that, you can tell. So thank you for everyone's support. We really couldn't do without you. We see you out there, we recognize it, and we really appreciate it. And like the sheriff said, it's a very heavy week, having to lay down Pope County Deputy Josh Owen on this coming Saturday. So please be praying for his family and partners and other agencies. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Scott Tillman, Superintendent with the Buffalo Hanover Montrose School District. I want to thank the Chamber for this opportunity. You've seen me here before. Normally, I'm following Sheriff Derringer, and I have like a minute and a half to present several points of information. But again, I just want to thank the Chamber and the Chamber members for supporting the Buffalo Hanover Montrose School District. You're supporting our students and in our district at large, or as a whole. I know many of you get hit up for contributions or donations for activities, and students are selling salt, or they're wanting to sell gold cards or different things like that. And we truly appreciate you and your advertisement and supporting our schools and our activities. And also the bond that we passed in 2014 was made a huge difference in our school district and our operating referendum that passed in 2019. I know many of you attend the academic luncheon that's going to, this year is May 17th, and it's a Wednesday, so that conflicts with Rotary. Just FYI on that, Suzanne. But recognizing all the achievements of our students, and we appreciate your sponsorship for all of those, our students. I'd like to take this opportunity. We have a new communications coordinator within the district, and he didn't know that I was going to do this. Paul Downer, could you stand up, please? Paul is, go ahead and give him a round of applause. He's a great guy. He's related to one of those people on the city council also. Paul is a 2003 graduate of Buffalo High School, and we're very fortunate to have him join our team. Paul was in the same role. Well, he had a combo role at Delano Public Schools, and before that, he was the editor of the Annandale paper. I'm not saying it correctly, but we just truly appreciate him. He's a contact for you that I know Laura Barta Lindquist had done for over 20 years, and Paul's stepping into that role and would love to meet any of the chamber members. I also, since I was here last year, we had a board election, and we had 2 incumbents not run for re-election, and that we thank them for their service, Amanda Reinick and Ken Ogden. And they did a phenomenal job in their terms with the district. And we had one incumbent who ran for re-election, Bob Sansevier, and he was re-elected. We have 2 new board members. We have Sheila Smoody, who is a resident, graduate of Buffalo High School, has 6 children in the system, has her teaching license, and we're very fortunate to have her as part of the school board, and she brings great experiences. And then also Dr. Matt Hoffman, who's a pediatrician here with Stellus Health, and we're very appreciative that he ran, and we're excited that he's joined the school board also. Just as a reminder, Buffalo Hanover Montrose School District, I brought a couple of brochures up here that has all of our information in it. On the back side of it, it has a map on it. We serve 157 square miles, over 33,000 residents in that 157 square mile area. I didn't bring a PowerPoint because I wasn't sure how much time I would have with, otherwise I'd show you the map with Sheriff Derringer. That's a running joke. But we cross Highway 94 out past Rogers. If you take the Rogers exit and then Brockton Lane, that's Buffalo Hanover Montrose School District, where the Lennar homes, that's BHM schools. And then we go all the way out to the edge of Maple Lake, and then we're just outside the city limits of Watertown, and to the north up to 37 on your way to Monticello. Serving 5,300 students, and we're down. The pandemic had an impact on the BHM school district, and we're down some students. That's pretty typical in the state of Minnesota. Birth rate in Wright County is down about 400 births per year since the Great Recession, since 2007. So we're feeling that as they come through, fewer students as they come through. Within our 157 square miles, we have 3 non-public schools that are also within those borders. We provide transportation to all those students and those schools. And then we have, I was just told that we're going to have a new charter school coming into the city of Buffalo. So that's something different, and we'll, just like businesses, we have competition too with public schools. Especially with open enrollment also. I want to give you a little bit of an overview of what's happening at the Capitol. If you hadn't read, we have our newsletter, the BHM Insider, and the last couple of articles I've been trying to highlight a few things that are happening at the Capitol that impact school districts. I talk about this now because we never know our fate, and the board has adopted assumptions for a budget. We have to approve it. The board has to approve it by June 30th. All of these things happen prior to us really knowing what our fate is and what budget numbers we can settle on. We won't know that until the Monday after the third Saturday in May. May 22nd. I know people are calculating that in their head. We're very appreciative. This is my 21st year as a superintendent, 13th year in the Buffalo Hanover Montrose School District, and very appreciative of our legislators and our governor to talk about the funding ahead of time. We had a record surplus, and we're really appreciative of the $2 billion investment that they've committed to, but we don't know where it's going to land. And I just want to clarify something for everybody, and that's what I put in these articles, and these are available online if you want a little nighttime reading and put yourself to sleep. But in these articles, there's a comment that the governor has made and legislators that we're going to fully fund education. But their proposals aren't that. And just so you know what we deal with on an annual basis. So, for example, we passed that operating levy. You all helped us with that in 2019. There was a special ed deficit, special education funding deficit at that time for the Buffalo Hanover Montrose School District of $4.5 million, about $750 per pupil. Guess what our operating referendum question was in 2019? $750 per pupil. In 2023, the projected special education funding deficit for Buffalo Hanover Montrose School District is going to be $7.1 million, or about $1,200 per pupil. So it continues to grow. The governor, the House, the Senate haven't really addressed it because they said they were going to cut it by 50%. I know I was just an elementary teacher, but that's not fully funding education. So those are the types of actions that are happening at the Capitol that I take, follow all very closely. The school board follows very closely because when they make these comments, we want to hold them accountable for what they're saying. The funding formula is the main way that school districts receive dollars for operating, hiring teachers, hiring support staff, our paraprofessionals that work with students every single day. And they're projecting a 4% in the first year for the House and 2% in the second year. We always work off at a biennium. We're trying to figure out, okay, this year and next year, we get a little solace. We'll know what we're going to get in 2 years. But we don't know until the day that they pass it. And that's on the education funding formula. And then for the special education funding deficit, the Senate is proposing to not cut that deficit by 50%, but to cut it by 40%. In the first year of the biennium, and then 47.3% in the second year, and then they also put something out in the third year and say 60%, versus the governor and the House say we're going to cut it by 47.8%. And all of those types of things we're watching. Over 1,000 bills were passed out of committee. And so we're always monitoring that because there are bills that are passed that we call them policy bills, and school board members will call them unfunded mandates, because they'll pass a policy, but they won't calculate how much of an impact it has on the budget. Right now, they're talking about unemployment insurance for hourly employees for school districts. And I don't want to begrudge anybody from having unemployment. We've never had to do that in the past because we pass a resolution saying that they will be employed in the fall. Our custodians work year-round, but our ESPs work 174 days, the number of days that the students are in session. And we pass a resolution that they'll be employed in the fall. We've calculated that estimate. There's no funding that the governor they initially talked about it and then they pulled it away. For our district, it would be between $800,000 and $900,000 in those 3 months in the summer. That might not sound like a lot, but when the Senate is saying, hey, Buffalo's going to get $4 million, that's not really what it is, because you have to take out all of these different things that are unfunded. Actually, when we did the calculation, even before the unemployment insurance, Buffalo would get about $2 million. And I bring that stuff up because we're working with our legislators, Representative Marion O'Neill, Representative Joe McDonald, and Senator Bruce Anderson. They're in our area. We're in contact with them, letting them know how these bills could affect us. One bill that would affect us positively is an equalization, a property tax equalization bill. It's House File 1271 and Senate File 1601. I testified in the House Education Finance Committee in favor of this bill. It was approved out of the House, and so was the Senate file, and then laid over to the Tax Committee, because that bill would equalize the operating referendum that you passed in 2019. It would provide $1.2 million property relief for the Buffalo Hanover Montrose School District. So every district in the state's going to have something like that. We're just very appreciative of the investment after the pandemic and throughout the pandemic of the elementary and secondary schools emergency relief funds. We've been using that to retain our teachers. So we have had reductions in students, and we've made reductions in the past, but at the same time, there are times when we have a reduction of 20 students. Well, if we have 6 elementaries, 20 students doesn't equal a teacher. You'd think, well, 20 students, you should probably reduce a teacher. So those are the machinations that we go through to find out how are we going to be able to staff and still keep nice class sizes for you and your students, because that's what our top priority is. We've used those in 21-22. We were scheduled to cut about 15 teachers. And we used those funds to cut 7.5, so we kept half of them. This year we were supposed to cut 15. The board used those funds, and we didn't cut any. And for next year is the last year of those ESSER dollars, is how we call it. We were supposed to cut 20. We're going to keep all 20 for one more year. And then we'll look at what's coming from the legislature and the governor on May 22nd. I just want to promote and talk about the school district, and we're very, very proud of the programs that we offer our students. Student success and student safety is our top priority. We look at providing opportunities for our students. In this brochure, we list out some of the different things, like college in the schools for our students. We saved, in 2021, we saved our parents $1.38 million in tuition. My son was one of those. He graduated in 2021, took 13 college classes at Buffalo High School with Buffalo High School teachers. Not PSEO. PSEO school districts don't get funds when students go to post-secondary enrollment option. I use a lot of acronyms, so I apologize for that. So that's PSEO. These are Buffalo teachers teaching Buffalo students in a college class that come directly from the University of Minnesota, St. Cloud State University, North Hennepin Community College, Hennepin Technical College. We have 9 classes from the Hennepin Technical College that our teachers teach for our students that are college classes. And they can take those credits wherever they go. It doesn't matter if it's Alexandria Technical College, St. Cloud Technical College, those credits travel with them. Our students earned over 40, and this is just in the 21-22 school year, over 4,700 credits at Buffalo High School. And you need to know the state doesn't give us money for that. They don't say, hey, put in college in the schools, put in these college classes for your students. We do that. The school districts make that investment because we estimate we'd probably lose $600,000 in students going out and taking PSEO, but we'll put in an investment of about $150,000 annually. So it's an investment all the way around. It just reduces the reduction that we might have in our school district. But it's what's best for students. And that's why we made that, and the board makes those decisions. You could see that the Workforce Development Task Force, we have Ed Cox leading that, assistant principal at the high school, working with our on-the-job training teachers and the Department of Employment and Economic Development from the state level, and trying to retain those jobs right here in Buffalo, Hanover, Montrose communities. One thing that I want to touch on, school safety. If you're a parent, how many folks are current parents in the room? We have a few. I know we have past parents, we have grandparents, but we had a swatting incident a couple of weeks ago. And a swatting incident is like a bomb threat, right? It used to be the old bomb threat, somebody called in. Now they call in and say that there's somebody armed and in your building. And so people are scrambling, trying to make sure the police department are engaged, the county sheriff's department is engaged, and we're trying to determine if that's a legitimate threat or a swatting incident. And Nashville just occurred 3 weeks ago. It's one of those things that are at top of mind all the time. We're going to have to make some improvements in our buildings. 2014 doesn't sound like a long time ago, but buildings keep aging. We keep assessing, keep looking at safety and security. We'll probably want to put in a new entry at the high school, new entry at the middle school to provide a more secure entry. We're looking at those types of things along with replacing roofs and all of these different types of things making all those improvements without having a tax impact for our community. And there's mechanisms that we can utilize that will do that and improve school security and improvements throughout the buildings. I'm going to change direction. That was a little bit down, but I'm going to end on just some upcoming events that are coming up. April this week is the National Volunteer Recognition Week and the Week of the Young Child. And on Saturday, if you know any young families in your neighborhoods, send them to our family fair. The Early Childhood Family Ed Family Fair is held at Discovery Center here at Discovery Elementary School in the gymnasium from 10 to 1. And then coming up in May, first week of May, is the National Teacher Appreciation Week. May 5th of that same week is School Lunch Hero Day. I didn't know we had one of those, but we're celebrating our nutrition services employees. We also have a national school lunch. And then May 10th is National School Nurses Appreciation Day. And then our crowning ceremonies graduation in June 9th this year, 7 p.m. at Buffalo High School. And it'll be the third year, if the weather cooperates, that we'll have our graduation ceremonies outdoors. We've always had those in the gymnasium, and if you sat through that, that was a very warm environment. And the weather's cooperated the last couple of years. That's all I have for you. Oh, I have 1 minute for questions. No. Thank you for this opportunity to address you. Thanks.
Hey, as he was talking, students, parents, grandparents, I actually was looking around the room just with a raise of hands, because I'm looking at like Orrin, we've got somebody really young, and then you look at somebody like me who's really old that graduated from the BHS school system. So who graduated from here? Just raise the hands. Interesting. Pretty good. Half the room, Scott. That's all right, huh? One other school to mention that's in our community is our Wright Tech School. So I hope some of you made it to the open house last night. Some of us were there a little earlier and got the tour and everything. But that's another little gem in our community that we sometimes fail to recognize. And they've been here 50 years and are doing a really darn good thing for our surrounding communities as well. So, and one other thing, I was remiss. I wanted to introduce my board members. So as we talked about people who give of their time and volunteer, I'm going to have them stand quick. So Holly, Denise, Eric, Jackie somewhere I saw, Jeremy, Jackie. I think that's who's here today, right? Who? Jen. 6 of us. So thanks, guys. Where's April? Well, stand up, woman. All right, so 7 of us. There's 11 on my board, and they've just been awesome to work with and very supportive of all the chamber initiatives that we have. So I failed to say thank you, so got you in the end. I have one pressing question of the city. Where is our welcome little buffalo statue going to be? The one that got moved when the tree came down and for the construction. Where are you going to put him? Any ideas?
Go to the community, that's where they'd like to
Okay. Because you know the chamber has our little scavenger hunt for our bison statue, so we got to know where she lands. Anyway, any questions? The city staff will be over here. Suzanne and I will hang out for a while. Scott, if you're able to, feel free to go up and ask questions of them directly. I so thank you for being here. We got her done in an hour and a half. Enjoy the rest of your day.